Chief Judge Frank Caprio surveys the docket. His face is a roadmap of a long career spent in this room. He listens. A woman explains a parking ticket, her voice trembling. He dismisses it with a gentle smile. Be more careful next time. The relief in her eyes is palpable. The routine is sacred. The process, however mundane, matters. The next name echoes with a different timbre. Alexander Thorne. A man in a suit worth more than the court's monthly budget strides to the defendant's table. He doesn't sit. He stands, a smirk playing on his lips. He is flanked by two attorneys who look like they bill in 6-minute increments. The atmosphere shifts from weary resignation to charged anticipation. Judge Caprio adjusts his glasses. The file before him is thin. A single traffic citation. He reads it aloud, his voice calm and even. Mr. Thorne, you are charged with failing to obey a traffic control device. A red light camera captured your vehicle. How do you plead? Thorne doesn't look at the judge. He examines his manicured nails. His lead attorney, a woman named Ms. Reed, steps forward. Your Honor, we move for dismissal. The camera's calibration records are incomplete. The evidence is inadmissible. Caprio nods slowly. The city has certified the camera's operational status, Counselor. The burden is now on you. Do you have evidence to the contrary? We have an expert witness prepared to testify to the device's notorious inaccuracy, Reed says, her tone crisp. On a $175 ticket? Caprio asks, a note of genuine curiosity in his voice. He looks past the lawyer at Thorne. Sir, this is a simple matter. What is your personal explanation for the event? Alexander Thorne finally looks up. He lets out a short, derisive laugh. It cuts through the formal quiet of the court. An explanation? For this? My time is valued at over $10,000 an hour. I'm not here to explain anything. I'm here to inform you that this farce is a waste of my resources. Dismiss it. A ripple of stunned silence moves through the public gallery. Caprio does not react. He places his hands flat on the bench. His knuckles are white. Mr. Thorne, you are in a court of law. The only resource being wasted here is the court's patience. I asked you a direct question. Thorne's smirk widens. He leans into the microphone. And I gave you a direct answer. That light was yellow. Even if it was red, which it wasn't, the economic impact of me stopping for it would be greater than this entire courtroom sees in a month. This isn't justice. It's taxation by citation, and I don't pay for inefficiency. He turns his back slightly, addressing his lawyer in a stage whisper everyone can hear. Just make this go away. Write a check if you have to. I have a helicopter waiting. The tension in the room becomes a physical presence. Caprio's affable demeanor evaporates. It doesn't transform into anger, but into something colder, more focused. The paternal judge is gone. In his place is a magistrate of immense authority. Sit down, Mr. Thorne, Caprio says. His voice is quiet, but it carries the weight of a gavel strike. Thorne freezes, half turned away. He slowly faces the bench again. I beg your pardon? You are not begging for anything. You are sitting down. Caprio turns to the bailiff. Officer, ensure the defendant is seated. The bailiff, a large man with a stoic face, takes a firm step toward Thorne. For a moment, Thorne looks like he might resist. He glances at the bailiff's hand, resting on his belt. He sits. Caprio leans forward. Let's be very clear. Your wealth is irrelevant. Your helicopter is irrelevant. In this room, you are a citizen answering to the law. You do not get to purchase dignity, and you certainly cannot buy it from this bench. Your contempt for this process is noted. Ms. Reed tries to interject. Your Honor, my client's comments were not intended to show contempt. They were a textbook demonstration of it, Counselor. Caprio interrupts, his eyes never leaving Thorne. The charge was a minor traffic violation. It is now a matter of principle. You spoke of economic impact, Mr. Thorne. Let's talk about real impact. Caprio picks up the file. The intersection where you ran that light is next to Vernon Elementary School. The crosswalk you blew through is used by hundreds of children every day. At the time of your violation, it was 2:55 p.m. School dismissal. A wave of murmurs rolls through the gallery. Thorne's smug expression falters. A flicker of uncertainty crosses his face. The city's traffic engineer will testify that a vehicle moving at the speed your car was clocked, 52 in a 35, would have needed 92 feet to stop safely after that light turned red. The crosswalk is 40 feet from the stop line. Caprio lets the math hang in the air. Do you understand the physics of that, Mr. Thorne? Do you understand the economic impact of a life? The inefficiency of a child's funeral? Thorne says nothing. He looks down at the table. His lawyer is silent, her legal arguments rendered useless. You came here believing the rules were for other people, Caprio continues, his voice low and intense. You believed your money and your status created a different set of laws, a private reality. That is the critical mistake, not running the light. The mistake was walking into this courtroom and believing you were above it. Caprio turns to the court clerk. The plea is entered as not guilty. We are proceeding to a trial, right now. Thorne's head snaps up. What? You can't be serious. This court is the only thing in this room that is serious, Caprio states. The city will present its evidence. You will have the opportunity to present yours. You wanted your expert witness? You shall have him. Subpoena him. Get him here. Your helicopter will have to wait. The billionaire is stunned into silence. The reality of the situation is crashing down upon him. He is not in a boardroom. He is not negotiating a merger. He is trapped in the inexorable machinery of justice, a machine he arrogantly believed he could shut off with a smirk. He looks at his lawyers who are frantically whispering. He looks at the bailiff, standing firm. He looks at the judge, whose gaze is unwavering. For the first time, Alexander Thorne understands the meaning of the word powerless. The trial is swift and brutal. The prosecutor, a young man suddenly infused with purpose, plays the red light video on a monitor. The sleek, black luxury car is a blur of arrogant motion, slicing through the red light. The timestamp, 2:55:03 p.m., burns on the screen. A grainy, wide-angle shot shows the edge of the school crosswalk, tiny figures of children visible just seconds later. There is no expert witness for the defense. There is only a stunned billionaire and his flummoxed legal team. When given the chance to testify, Thorne declines. The bravado is gone. He sits, diminished, in his expensive suit. The prosecutor rests his case. Caprio asks for closing arguments. The defense has nothing substantive to say. They mumble about reasonable doubt, but the words sound hollow and obscene in the face of the video. Judge Caprio steeples his fingers. He looks at Thorne, not as a billionaire, not as an arrogant man, but as a defendant. The emotional cost of the proceeding is etched on Thorne's face. It is the raw cost of public humiliation, of being stripped bare. But more than that, it is the dawning horror of his own actions, seen not as a minor financial nuisance, but as a potentially lethal act of indifference. The facts are not in dispute, Caprio begins, his voice filling the silent, tense room. The defendant operated his vehicle in a reckless manner. He violated a traffic law designed for public safety. He then displayed a flagrant disregard for this court. But this is not about punishing his attitude. This is about affirming a simple, fundamental truth. Caprio's gaze sweeps the entire courtroom, including the public gallery. The law is a shield. It protects the weak from the strong. It is the promise we make to each other that our society has order, that it has a conscience. When that shield is treated with contempt, it must be reinforced. It is not flexible for the privileged. It is not negotiable for the powerful. It is the bedrock. And today, we are standing on the bedrock. He turns his eyes back to Alexander Thorne. Mr. Thorne, on the charge of failing to obey a traffic control device, I find you guilty. The words land with finality. The standard fine for this violation is $175. However, given the aggravating circumstances, the speed, the location near a school, and most significantly, your conduct in this courtroom, I am imposing the maximum penalty allowable by statute, $500. Thorne lets out a breath, almost a sigh of relief. It was still just money. Caprio continues, and his next words freeze the blood in Thorne's veins. But a fine is not a lesson for a man of your means. It is a transaction. Therefore, pursuant to the statute regarding reckless endangerment, I am suspending your driver's license for a period of 6 months. You will surrender it to the bailiff before you leave this courtroom. Thorne shoots to his feet. You can't do that. I need to drive. You should have thought of that before you treated a ton of metal like a toy and a child's safety like an inconvenience, Caprio replies, utterly calm. There is more. He pauses, letting the shock settle. You will also be required to complete 100 hours of community service. That service will be directed. You will report to the Department of Public Works. You will wear a neon vest. And you will spend your days directing traffic at the very intersection where you committed this violation. You will stand there at the crosswalk of Vernon Elementary, and you will ensure that every car stops. You will ensure that every child crosses safely. You will become part of the shield you tried to break. The courtroom is utterly silent. No one breathes. The sentence is so perfectly, devastatingly just that it stuns everyone into awe. Alexander Thorne stares, his mouth agape. The reality of the sentence, the public shame, the menial labor, the total loss of control, is a punishment his world cannot compute. It is not a financial loss. It is a dismantling of his entire identity. Judge Caprio gathers his papers. He stands. The bailiff calls out, "All rise!" The room rises as one. Caprio looks down one last time at the broken billionaire. The law is not a joke, Mr. Thorne, and this court is not a place where you come to be amused. Court is adjourned. He turns and exits through his chamber door. The only sound left in the room is the quiet, shuddering breath of a man who learned that every single one of us is equal before the law. No one is above it, and dignity can never be bought. It can only be earned.